Are are media members across the country starting to turn on Deion Sanders? Are they starting to see some of the stuff that we've been seeing for a while? It looks as if they are, and they're not being nice about it. Let's talk about it after the bumper. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsyJr. YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload all the time. Today, we're talking about Deion Sanders. Coach Prime made a tweet about the NFL Draft and HBCU players, and some people are looking at him with a side eye. I haven't talked about this since the draft. As we know, only one HBCU player was drafted in this year's NFL Draft. Coach Prime had a problem with that. He talked about the NFL should be ashamed of itself for only drafting one HBCU player, that being Isaiah Bolden from Jackson State in the 7th round with the 245th pick. The New England Patriots took the cornerback, Isaiah. And some folks are kind of looking at Deion with a side eye. Now, we had it live, and you guys brought it to my attention because I didn't know this was taking place. But now, over the last few days, I've seen some national media members and some pundits kind of look at Prime, kind of look at him kind of sideways. Let's get right into it. This is from, let me make sure I'm telling you guys where these guys are from. They have a show, and they were discussing Coach Prime's tweet about Isaiah Bolden and about how the NFL should be ashamed. The fact that there was only one HBCU player that was taken. And let me just make sure I get the name of their show correct. Let me see that way. And they labeled their show, "Is Deion Sanders a hypocrite?" They literally labeled it, "Is Deion Sanders a hypocrite?" It's called Crane and Company. Crane and Company is a show that's got a nice little following. It's come on streams every Monday through Friday, and this was their take on Deion Sanders' tweet. I'm gonna play for you the audio from Crane and Company. I am actually you're going to look at me the whole time because I don't want to get any copyright strikes. But this is what the folks from Crane and Company had to say. Let's take a listen.
About the draft. Now, he congratulated one of his former HBCU players for getting drafted, but then Deion Sanders said, "I'm ashamed that the other 31 teams couldn't find value in HBCU players." This guy, I don't dislike Deion Sanders. I grew up a Florida State fan. I grew up a Deion fan. But to me, you had an opportunity to play college football anywhere in the country. You could have gone to an HBCU school. Where'd he go? He went to Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
He played for Bobby Bowden. Why? Because he's looking out for himself. Then another decision, you could have stayed at the HBCU school you were coaching, but you didn't. You left. And not only did you leave, you took all the great players you were bragging about recruiting with you because you were looking out for yourself.
Oh, this man is talking heavy. He's saying a lot. He's saying a lot of what we've been saying the last few months. Folks have been on this channel. Look at the comments on this channel criticizing me for saying some of these same things. Now we got Mr. Crane and Company kind of going in. Let's keep listening.
So when NFL GMs look out for their self-interest by drafting who they think is the best player, then what are you talking about? This guy is a snake oil salesman to me, a grifter of the highest order. And now there's 25 players from Colorado in the transfer portal. Maybe that's just because they can't cut the mustard and they're not up to the Coach Sanders, standard for what he's setting there in Colorado. Or maybe it's because people are catching on to this.
What? Ooh! Yo, that man was talking spicy, like real spicy, like hot tamale spicy. But they didn't stop there. Let's keep listening to what Mr. Crane and Company had to continue to say.
Well, it's like that scene from Eastbound and Down when Kenny Powers is on Sports Sesh and that show. And the one guy who played for a long time was like, "Yeah, I just don't think it's a good look taking this contract. It's more about your relationship with the fans." And Kenny Powers looks at him and goes, "Then why don't you play for free, dog?"
Ooh.
Like, this is so hypocritical to me.
Ooh.
You left the You did that. You went to an HBCU, talked about how you were going to change the HBCUs and put them on the map. You were there for what, 2 seasons? First good-looking girl that looked your way, you bounced and took all the players. Like, how can you try and play both sides of this fence? Like, this is just, there's some things that are, you can kind of get away with. There's like nuance. You can argue. We see it in politics all the time. You can argue your way out of it. There's no nuance to this.
The thing about it is, like, if you're good enough, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care what you look like, right? Or where you're from. If you're a good enough player, they're going to find you. It doesn't matter. But it's Deion Sanders. The biggest hypocrite in the world. So are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. I mean, I understand the PR. I understand the prime PR, which is
prime PR. Prime PR. Now, what they mean by that is because Deion wants to continue to stay in good graces with certain demographics, right? And so black people, black people always have an affinity with Deion Sanders because he's one of the greatest athletes, if not the greatest athlete to ever walk this planet, right? But he understands that he ruffled a lot of feathers leaving Jackson State, not just by leaving, the way he left and the way that he kind of went about it. And maybe some of you think this platform helped to tarnish some of his name when it came to that type of stuff, right? Like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, it's however you feel. But he wants to continue to make it seem as if he and the folks at Jackson State have this beautiful ongoing relationship and I'm fighting for the black school. But even the white people are starting to notice like, yo, bro, like, come on, bro. Like, that's just not true. That's just not true. Because if you wanted to fight for the black school so damn much, you wouldn't have left, right? And you wouldn't have left for the first, they said the pretty girl, first ugly girl. Colorado is duty. Colorado has been trash. They had to literally change rules for Deion and his thing to possibly work, meaning their academics. They had to bend over backwards. Now it's all a money play because they're making more money than they've ever made in football. Even when they were winning, they're making more money before they played a game with Deion than when they were winning back in the 80s and 90s. That's how they're making money hand over fist. But to be sitting here and acting like, oh man, it's such a shame, black players at HBCUs. Come on, bro, cut it out. Like, cut it out. Because you could have changed that. You were we watched it, we saw it happening. But the white people are even starting to say, like, yo, bro, that's hypocritical. That is blasphemous. That's goofy. That's just not true. Because if you wanted to change those things, you wouldn't have left. Now, I'm not, Deion had every right to leave. It's his life. It's his decision. It's his, whatever. But at the same time, these people are even noticing. And the reason why I think they're speaking out, you don't want to know why they're speaking out. It's not because they want to defend Jackson State. No, that's not their thing. And some of you may feel like there is an agenda or whatever of the NFL not drafting black college players because maybe that'll encourage people to go, more high-level athletes to go to black colleges, right? Like some of you honestly believe that. And I don't know if that's the case or not. I honestly have no idea, right? But at the same time, what I do know is I think the reason why people, and it's not just them. It's not just them. There was the Crane Company. Now, these people I don't really care for that much. These are folks over at Outkick. But even the folks over at Outkick are saying Deion Sanders continues to get crushed for complaining only one HBCU player was drafted. The NFL is in. I never said the NFL is racist or whatever, but more people are coming out. Cowboy executive hits back at Deion Sanders' HBCU claim. So people are like the national media is starting to, turn on its head with Deion a little bit in some of these cases. But you want to know why they're doing it? It's not because they're looking out for Jackson State or the HBCUs. Let's not get it twisted. They're not doing this for the sake of JSU or for the sake of HBCUs. Want me to show you why they're doing this? This is why they're pushing back on Deion Sanders, because they don't like this. They don't like this. Power 5 transfers out. Look who's up there at the top. Colorado with 56. The next closest Power 5 school is at 33, and that's Ole Miss. Colorado's had nearly 60 players leave their program since he took over. The next closest has almost half of that. And for you all to be telling me, oh, it's a 1-11 team, I get that. Of course, there's going to be roster turnover. For you all to be telling me, oh, it happens transfers happen everywhere. I get that. That happens when you have a new coach, because most of these teams up here have new coaches or had bad seasons. But to tell me 56 players transferring out of your program is normal, it's not. And this is why those national pundits are saying that. You heard the guy, one of the guys. There was 3 guys that talked on the soundbite that I played. And one of the guys said, yo, they had a bunch of transfers out. And maybe most of them are because they don't fit the standard that Prime wants his team or whatever. Said, but some of them probably got in there and realized, yo, this isn't the guy that I thought I was going to play for. And now it's time for me to leave. This is why they're speaking out. It's not on the behalf of Jackson State. They don't care about black colleges that much. It's not on the behalf of the SWAC. They don't care. They at large don't care. It's because he's doing something that's unprecedented at Colorado. And for him to be complaining about, and basically they're like, why are you complaining about the black school when you're at the white school now? Something that we've been saying. Why are you still talking about JSU and the black schools when you're at the big white school now? And one thing about them folks, you keep talking like you want your old thing back. We might send you back to your old thing. Because you got these 56 transfers and we don't know if this is going to work yet. We're not so sure. It might work. And maybe you might, 56. Some of the guys called in my show said Colorado going to win 9 games. So it might work. I ain't no way in hell they win 9 games, but it might work. But until you prove to us this works and you keep talking about them black schools and them black colleges and saying you ashamed of the NFL don't take being ashamed of too well. As you see, they've got folks coming out hand over fist talking about Deion and not in so polite fashion. And it's not just the guys on Crane and Company. It's not just the guys on Outkick. Jason Whitlock, and I'm not the biggest Jason Whitlock fan. He made the same point. See, the thing was when Deion was just talking about Jackson State in a negative manner, a lot of people didn't care. You know what I'm saying? When he was just restricting his negative talk or allowing the people around him to talk negatively about Jackson State, most folks didn't care. We cared. We talked about it on here, and that's why we called it out, and we had the exchange and everything. And they didn't care. But see, now you're messing with the NFL. See, now you're calling the NFL out. And see, the thing about the NFL, they have a lot of minions that'll do the dirty work for them. Roger Goodell and those guys, they got a lot of folks that'll do the dirty work for them and say, hey, you don't talk about us. You get out of line, you get spanked. And a spanking in this form, in this case, is in a PR. And see, Deion thought he was doing something. That's why they called it the Deion PR move, the prime PR move. Because he thought, I'm going to speak out for the black college, and then the black people are going to feel me on that. Well, see, the black people are smart enough. We're not dumb. We're smart enough to say, hey, man, all that's cool, but you left the black school. A number of players would have been drafted next year if you was at the black school, and probably even more the year after with Travis and Shador and things like that. But you left that to go to Colorado, the worst FBS job, the worst Power 5 job in the country. You left that. So we wasn't feeling that. And the white people ain't going to be feeling that because you're talking about the NFL. And you're making the NFL seem racist, which, Jeremiah Trotter can speak on that better than me. So, but they ain't going to speak on it coming from you, especially when you left the black college. That's why it backfired. He was trying to spin that into a PRW, and it actually ended up being a PRL. A big L. A big OL. Just right there. Now, once again, this is temporary. And if you go out in Colorado and you win 8-9 games like some of your fans believe you will, this will just be a blip on the radar. Nobody will remember it. But if you go to Colorado, you only win 3 or 4 games, this will just continue to add to the mountain of evidence that people feel like maybe you weren't ready to coach at that level. But I guess we have to wait and see. But this was interesting. I just had to point that out. The guys from Crane and Company went in. They went in. They're literally, the title of their video is Deion Sanders a hypocrite? It looks like media pundits are starting to flip their narrative on Deion Sanders publicly. Some of them may have always felt like this, but now publicly they're starting to speak out. Guess we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on Jeff Lightsy Jr. YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your content. Do me a favor before you get out of here. Hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, it's at JLightsy7 on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.